explosive dunks, fiery personality, clutch playoff performances. At just 23 years old, Ant-Man isn't just fun to watch, he's rewriting what dominance looks like. The kid from Atlanta is turning playoff moments into legends, outplaying LeBron, outdueling Curry, and drawing comparisons to Michael Jordan himself. But how did we get here? How did a kid who couldn't shoot become the face of one of the most dangerous teams in the NBA? Today, we dive into the rise of Anthony Edwards and why he is breaking basketball. Anthony Edwards was born in Atlanta, Georgia in August of 2001. He actually got his Ant-Man nickname from his father well before the MCU made the character a household name, and carried it as his call sign while being a two-sport athlete. Naturally gifted, Ant played lots of football as a kid, covering multiple positions but excelling at running back. He switched to basketball around middle school after playing with his older brother and got serious about it after seeing how his athleticism could make him great at it. He also lost both his mother and grandmother to cancer right before high school and had to be raised by his older siblings. He said the experience made him grow up quickly, and he's dedicated his career to them, with his number 5 jersey a tribute to both passing away on the 5th day of the month. The number on his chest drove him to work harder, and he grew so quickly that he was a 4-star recruit before even starting high school. All this while his personal coach said he couldn't even shoot. As the top shooting guard in the 2019 class and a unanimous 5-star, Ant had offers from Kansas, Kentucky, UNC, and more, but chose to stay close to home. He committed to Georgia and legendary coach Tom Crean, who'd shaped 2 of his heroes, D. Wade and Victor Oladipo. In his lone college season, all that development turned into production. On a roster whose only other NBA talent was Toumani Camara, Ant averaged 19 points and 5 rebounds against solid SEC competition. Georgia reached the SEC tournament and upset Ole Miss, but the next game and the rest of college hoops was canceled when COVID hit. Ant declared for the 2020 NBA draft, headlining a top-heavy class with James Wiseman and LaMelo Ball. The Timberwolves took him first overall. He and LaMelo had similar shooting concerns, but Ant's athletic ceiling and potential stood out. He was set to join Karl Anthony Towns as Minnesota's co-star. Out of the gate in the NBA, even in a season complicated by the bubble, Ant stood out as worthy of being the number 1 pick. He played in 72 games, more than anyone else, and quickly went from rotation piece to everyday starter. He flashed brilliance as a rookie, including a 42-point game against the Suns and a consistent 25-point scoring stretch. In 2021, he leveled up across the board, but remained the clear number 2 to Cat. Still, he kept showing greatness, like dropping 10 threes in a game, the youngest to ever do so, as well as a 49-point gem against the Spurs. In his first playoff series, Ant showed he could be the best player on a good team, dropping 36 in Game 1 against Memphis, 24 in Game 4, and 30 in a Game 6 elimination loss. While the Wolves fell, it was becoming clear. The future in Minnesota might not be Cat. It may actually be Ant. 2022 was the year Ant started becoming a household name. He made his first All-Star game as a reserve and showed even more growth, bumping his shooting to nearly 46% from the field and 37% from 3. The Wolves underachieved overall, barely clearing 500 and landing in the play-in again. But Ant posted career highs in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. When he was dominant, the team flourished, going 10-5 when he scored 32 or more. He was limited in the play-in loss to the Lakers, but bounced back with a 19-point double-double to beat the Thunder. In the playoffs against Jokic and the future champs, Ant dropped 18 in Game 1, 41 in Game 2, and 34 in Game 4 to force a Game 5. He led the team in scoring all series. Minnesota fell, but Ant's run sparked real questions about who the franchise should build around. In 2023, the T-Wolves started fully building around Ant, giving Cat more freedom by trading for Rudy Gobert. With 3 seasons under his belt and a more complete team, plus Mike Conley running point after the midseason D'Lo trade, Ant ramped up his consistency. He played 79 games for the second straight year, averaging 26 points on 46% shooting. His passing also improved as he became the engine of the offense, and buzz built around him being part of a generation ready to replace Bron, Steph, and KD. But to earn that, he had to lead a winning team. Ant helped the Wolves start 20-5 against one of the league's toughest schedules. Even through injury, he was a playmaking machine. When healthy, he looked unstoppable. The Wolves broke 50 wins for the first time since the Kevin Garnett era, finishing 56-26, just a game shy of the 1 seed. Their defense was historically great, and Ant ended the regular season as an all-star starter, second-team All-NBA, and a vote-getter for both Clutch Player of the Year and MVP. And then, the playoffs started. The Timberwolves drew the Suns in round 1 of the 2024 playoffs. Their new big three of KD, Booker, and Beal was finally healthy, but Minnesota didn't flinch. Ant talked about looking up to Durant as a kid, but that respect turned into rivalry pretty quickly. Game 1. Ant drops 33 with 9 boards and 6 assists, leading all scorers. Wolves win. Game 2. He scores 15, including 6 in the third to spark the lead they never gave up, and adds 8 assists while holding Bradley Beal to 14. Wolves win. Game 3. Ant drops 36 with 9 boards, including 18 in the fourth. Wolves never trail and win again. Game 4. He drops 40 in response to Booker's 49, scoring 16 in the fourth. His final buckets: a 3 to take the lead, a dunk, 2 free throws, and another dunk to complete the sweep. The Suns had the talent to make it a series. Ant never let them. By the end, comparisons to MJ started surfacing. It felt lofty, but after back-to-back dominant playoff runs, the talk didn't feel out of place. And next up, the modern-day Kareem, Nikola Jokic, and the defending champion Nuggets. Minnesota was built for this moment. Game 1, Ant drops 43 and scores the Wolves' final 6 points to steal home court. Game 2, he and Towns both score 27 in a 2-0 series lead. Game 3, Wolves go cold. Ant still leads the team with 19. Game 4, he bounces back with 44, 5-5, but the help isn't there, and Denver ties it up. The Nuggets took the next 2 games, with Ant limited to 18 in Game 5, and suddenly, Minnesota looked finished. But Ant refused to go down like that. He scored 27 in Game 6, helping to force a Game 7 with a monster third quarter and suffocating team defense that held Denver to 70 points. In Game 7, down 15 at the half, the Wolves stormed back, outscoring Denver by 14 in the third and finishing strong in the fourth. Ant's 12 second-half points and 8 defensive boards helped Minnesota reach their first conference finals since 2004. Ant had outplayed Jokic and looked every bit like the superstar he was being compared to. That number 5 jersey started looking more and more like a 23. In the Western Conference Finals, Minnesota were heavy favorites against a Dallas team relying almost entirely on Luka Doncic, but the T-Wolves dropped the first 2 games in tight battles, and rebounded and passed well, but his scoring dipped to 19 and 21. Game 3 also went to Dallas despite a 26-9-9 stat line from Ant. Minnesota clawed back in Game 4 behind his 29-10-9, but even his 28-9-6 in Game 5 couldn't force a 6th game. Minnesota's best team in decades fell just short of the finals, but it wasn't because of Ant. Despite the loss, no one blamed him. He battled to the end and earned a spot on Team USA for the 2024 Olympics. Even off the bench, he had a 26-point game in pool play and finished 4th on the team in scoring, just behind Steph, LeBron, and KD. That performance, paired with his playoff run, sparked conversation about him being the NBA's next face. Ant downplayed the title, but his game said otherwise. Back home, Cat was traded to the Knicks, officially making the Timberwolves Ant's team. And with this momentum, that might just be the beginning. Back in the States, the 2024 playoff run made it clear. Anthony Edwards was the Timberwolves' future. In the offseason, Cat was dealt to the Knicks for Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, brought in as support pieces to keep Ant rolling. Rookie Rob Dillingham added depth behind Mike Conley. The goal was clear: win the franchise's first title. But the season got off to a rocky start. Without Cat scoring, Gobert's offensive load increased, Naz Reid wore down, and Randle couldn't replace the production. Minnesota hovered around 500 through the first 40 games, struggling to recapture last year's elite defense. But when 2025 hit, so did Ant. He went on a tear, with his 10 highest scoring games all coming post-New Year, including a career-high 53 against the Pistons. The Wolves surged in March, winning 8 straight games to claw back into the playoff race. Ant finished with career bests across the board: 28 points per game, 5.7 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and a league-leading mark in threes made, shooting nearly 40% from deep. All the while, he was still flying around the court. dunking, defending, and doing Ant things. A final 5-game win streak locked in the 6th seed. It was time for playoff Ant to return. In his postseason rematch against Luka Doncic, now an LA Laker, Ant didn't blink, scoring 22, 25, 29, and 43 in the first 4 games of the series as Minnesota took a 3-1 lead and then scored 15 and flirted with a triple-double in Game 5, grabbing 5 rebounds in the 4th quarter to help hold off the Lake Show. Ant not only got revenge on Luka, but thoroughly outplayed LeBron in their first ever playoff meeting. One legend down, he turned to face Steph Curry and the Warriors in the semifinals. After losing Game 1 with a career-high 14 rebounds, Ant turned up the motor alongside Julius Randle, scoring 20 with 9 rebounds and 3 steals, dropping 10 in the 4th quarter. Playoff Ant officially returned in Game 3 with 36 points, 28 of which came in the second half and 5 in the final 2 minutes to seal the game. With a 2-1 lead, the Wolves smelled blood, and Ant scored 30 to help them top off a Game 4 win. And against the super team of Steph, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green, Ant sent Golden State packing in 5 with 9 4th quarter points and 12 assists. Back-to-back conference finals appearances for the Timberwolves makes this team the most successful in franchise history. And the main man to credit is wearing number 5 and a big smile. While he hasn't shown the same level of dominance in the 2025 playoffs, Ant has still been the face of one of the deadliest teams in basketball. A 42-point performance in a Game 3 win against OKC showed just how dangerous Ant and the T-Wolves could be. However, it was the heavily favored Thunder who came out on top in the series, winning it 4-1 to book their spot in the finals. It's not how he would have wanted the season to end, but at just 23 years old, Ant can feel pretty happy about how his career is going. He took down LeBron and Curry and has led Minnesota to 2 consecutive conference final appearances. Anthony Edwards is no longer just fun to watch, he's the best shooting guard in basketball. Ant-Man went from an athletic marvel who couldn't shoot to one of the most dominant players in the NBA. Not only has he shown an ability to light up the highlight reel, but he plays with a certain amount of joy and swagger that makes him likable and amazing to watch, no matter who you root for. He's the next face of the league, and he's well on his way to being a future Hall of Famer. And who knows, he could even punch that ticket in the next few years if playoff Ant-Man remains such a force. But I want to hear from you. Even if he doesn't want it, should Anthony Edwards be the face of the NBA? What does he need to do to become one of the league's best players? Let me know in the comments below.